2, 3, 4.
Come a little bit closer, hear what I have to say. Just like children.
Happy Sunday, honey.
Happy Sunday, sweetie. Full disclosure, folks, it's not morning.
No.
We were busy in the morning with a whole lot of other stuff we really don't need to get into right now. Stuff with the puppies and good stuff.
Yeah.
We almost had a day off today.
Yeah, I wish I had another day off. I need another day off today.
But it was beautiful. This was mid-70s. It's supposed to rain tonight and rain tomorrow morning. So it's cooling off a bit. But I think we got a lot accomplished. We got some downtime in. We got some other... Well, you got a lot more accomplished than I did.
Well, we got to take the puppies for a practice run down to start getting them, acclimated to the world and to strangers and to other dogs. We took them to Tractor Supply thinking we were going to get their rabies shots, but they're too young.
Yeah, they got to be 16 weeks and they're only 13 weeks.
Yeah. And they were so well behaved, and everybody loved them. They were so cute.
Put them in the shopping cart, and their only job was to look cute.
And they did a good job at
Yeah,
that.
they did. Then we took them down to Shasta Dam, walked around there. We had a can't pet a puppy.
Can't pet a puppy. Would you
Yeah.
like to pet our puppies? We're trying to get them, socialized.
Yeah, and acclimated to other people in different environments and different situations.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody declined.
No, we've got to be able to take them camping. We've got to be able to take them traveling because, that's what we do in the summer is we like to go camping and take our animals and take them for lots of hikes and walks where there's other people and other dogs. And so
You got to learn to behave.
they got to learn to behave. And they did really good. I was very proud. They weren't freaked out when we were down at the dam with all the vehicles going across the dam because there's a big shindig going on down there. And they just lay down on the sidewalk and we're just watching everything and watching everybody. And I'm like, wow, they did really good.
Met one lady from the north of England, between Manchester
Yeah.
and Liverpool. She was from that area, and she showed us pictures of her dog and got to pet our dogs. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was a good experience. She was there visiting for like 2.5, 3 weeks, trying to see some of California.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. So,
Today's subject is
well, we got on a topic, and I just want to make sure it's got the right audio being used here. Anyway, I hope so. We were talking earlier today around thinking about what you're thinking, and so thinking about what other people are thinking. And that's one of the topics I teach in preschool, 4 and 5-year-olds, and specifically even 6-year-olds are always thinking about what the others are thinking. And you'll notice that when children primarily will say, "Is that right? Right?" Because they are trying to figure out what you're thinking all the time. But that goes into adulthood, and it goes into, when you are being hard on yourself or judging yourself. And most of the time, criticisms from others are your own thoughts by the way they look at you or the way you think they look at you. And then you're like, oh, they were looking at my shirt, or I have a stain on my shirt, or they were looking at my my hair, or, whatever they're looking at. And because I asked you today, I put on shorts and I wanted to wear shorts. And I'm like, am I okay wearing shorts? Sometimes I think I don't want to disappoint you wearing shorts. And your reaction was like, what? What are you talking about?
So you were deeply concerned about what other people thought of you.
I was.
And that's basically our topic for today is are you worried so much about what other people think of you that you change your habits, you change your wardrobe, you don't go to certain places?
The gym. You don't go to,
Fear of judgment.
You don't go to social places where there's people because you don't want to be judged, and I mean, I've showed up at the gym and you think that when you show up at the gym, you think that, oh, nobody here is in the shape I'm in, so I don't belong here. But they all started at a certain point. They weren't, you don't know their story. You don't know how long it's, the gym is a lifetime commitment. It's not a do it until I get there. There is no there. It's a lifetime commitment to make that commitment and be disciplined to take good care of your body. That's good self-care. But the gym is a really good example because I'll be in the gym. There's obviously people in there in 10,000 times better shape than I am. And I'll think...
But that's your perception.
Yeah, that is my perception because there are girls in there that when I see them, the only thing they're doing is the treadmill. The only thing they're doing is the treadmill. And they're super skinny. I just wonder how strong they are. I'm pumping weights. I'm moving weights around.
Then you have the other girls that are wearing their shorts 3 sizes too small.
Yeah.
And then they're probably, what do you call it, competition bodybuilding?
Yeah.
Where you stretch and strut
Yep.
and grunt in front of other people and people judge you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the point is other people are literally judging you on how you look.
Right.
Because that's part of the competition. It's like modeling. People are judging you by your looks. I don't know, Mr. Universe or Mrs. I'm not sure what the competitions are called. I've never been involved in them. But you've seen the people that go on stage and they oil themselves up and they shave everything and they do different poses to show off and flex their muscles, and this is men and women both. So these women are in there thinking that you're judging them. So they have the same insecurities.
They do, and they're perfect.
Well, they don't think that.
That's what I'm saying. They're thinking, I'm thinking something totally different.
Mm-hmm.
So when I go in there, I think it's my own self-deprecation. I'm not good enough to be in here. I'm not strong enough to be in here. I don't look like I belong in here. It's my own self-deprecation. It's not them. It's what I'm thinking to myself. They probably don't even think that way. And that goes with, it doesn't matter what anybody thinks. My husband, who I've been married to for 20 years, loves me and is okay with me wearing shorts. I'm comfortable wearing shorts till I pass by a mirror, and sometimes I'm hard. That's where I self-deprecate. I go, oh man, I am working on that. I am working on that every day to, instead of passing by a mirror, even though before I walked in front of that mirror, I felt good, strong, happy, go-getter, like I've got things I'm doing. Why is it when we passed by a mirror, we are hard on ourselves?
Because we need to remyelinate those pathways, those old pathways where you are kicking your own butt on a daily basis, kicking yourself in the teeth by saying mean things about yourself that you would never say to a friend.
So I guess what I need to practice doing is when I walk in front of a mirror, or if I find myself thinking those thoughts, I need to speak to myself like a friend.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to catch yourself doing that because we are our own worst critic. We really are. And I know I'm a good person. I know I'm a strong person. I know I am not a lazy. I'm like the opposite of lazy. I think sometimes when people look at me, they think I'm lazy and I eat bad food. And that's not true. I eat very healthily.
But then you just said it right there, what you assume other people think.
Right. It's thinking what other people think.
Assuming what other people think.
Assuming. I'm thinking people are thinking a certain way, and that is not true.
Right.
And how many of our listeners do the same thing? And it's working on not doing that so that you can live a happy, peaceful life. I think self-deprecation is, one of the biggest things that keeps us from taking good care of ourselves. It puts us into apathy sometimes. Oh, I don't care. Forget it. I don't care. I'm not going to do anything. It's not going to do any good anyway.
Right. And that's the opposite end of the spectrum, because you see people walking around Walmart, not to judge anybody, but they're walking around in sweatpants and pajamas in public.
Slippers.
Yeah,
slippers and pajamas.
Yeah, that
like they just rolled out of bed.
Yeah, that's kind of and it's the middle of the afternoon. That's kind of a pet peeve of mine. If you talk to anybody from Europe and they visit the United States, they are absolutely appalled on how people dress.
Yeah.
Because people in England and Germany and France, they tend in Italy, they tend to dress up. Not because there's an expectation from other people, it's what they expect of themselves. Mm-hmm. Also, it's cultural. When you go out in public, you dress up a little bit more than if you're lounging around the house. Unfortunately, in the United States, people go out like they dress down, like they dress more and more shabby, just to go out in public looking like they're shabby on purpose. And
yeah.
That drives me nuts. But then again...
Maybe you should move to Europe.
But then again, if you do any studies of philosophies, specifically Stoicism with a capital S, because some people get a misunderstanding of what Stoicism is. It's if you're a Stoic, that doesn't mean you suffer in silence and you accept pain and you never whine and complain. That's Stoic with a small s. Stoic with a big S is a branch of philosophy saying that there are ways to get to inner peace and happiness. I'm not going to go into a deep dive, but basically you pay attention to and concern yourself with, there are things that you can control. Imagine you draw these two imaginary bubbles in the air. In one bubble, there are things that you can control. Like what you wear that day, whether you brush your teeth or not. About yourself, there's things that you can control only about yourself.
How you take care of yourself.
How you take care of yourself.
Shower,
exactly. Mm-hmm.
Work out if you want to, take a walk, take care of your home. That's the stuff you have control over.
Right, whether you eat good or eat bad,
right,
or exercise or don't exercise, these are things that you can control.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there are things outside of your control. If you get in a car accident, that's outside of your control, and somebody hits you, that's outside of your control.
Right.
Or what people think about you is outside of your control.
Mm.
And you can only concern yourself, should only concern yourself with the things that you can control. Things you cannot control, like politics, things that are going on in Washington, things that are going on in Japan, or whatever else in the world, things that you cannot control, do not worry about those things. Do not let them interfere with your happiness, your inner peace, because you cannot control them. There's not a damn thing you can do about them. So let them go. Just absolutely do not worry. And again, what other people think of you is outside of your control and none of your damn business. So don't get all wrapped around the axle Or another metaphor is don't get your knickers in a twist about things that you cannot control. Because if you do that, then you'll never be happy.
Yeah.
And happiness is a skill. It's not an end destination. One
Right.
day, if I get this,
I'll be happy.
Yeah. If I buy this, new set of earbuds, like
If I win the lottery, I'll be happy.
right.
Yeah,
right.
it's not going to happen.
This is not going to happen.
Yeah.
That is not one of the components of happiness.
So, in relationships, you're married to your husband. You got married because you fell in love with each other, and throughout the span of that relationship, I wonder why it is women in general are so worried all the time about what other people think when they're in a marriage, that's the only thought that should count.
Well, I think I might have an answer to that. If you look at biological evolution and evolution of the human species, 20,000 years ago, if you're living in a tribe or a group of people, because that was the only way to survive. If you're off by yourself and you're the only person in your tribe, chances of your survival is pretty slim.
Right.
You're going to starve to death, or a beast is going to eat you, or you die of exposure from the elements because you don't have a place to live. You don't have any shelter or fire or food. Groups of people, that was the only way to survive, being part of a tribe. Now, this is 20,000 years ago. And if you are a social outcast in that tribe, what other people thought of you really, 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 really mattered as part of your survival. And the human brain has not progressed. Evolutionarily speaking, human beings have not evolved one bit in 20,000 years. Because you figure the Homo sapiens sapiens arguably have been around for 80,000 years. So the last 10,000, they hasn't really moved the needle, or 20,000 has not moved the needle in evolution. But as far as our social situation, we developed cities, we gave up the hunter-gatherer lifestyle, we developed agriculture, and then bigger cities, and then machines, wagons, horses pull the wagons. So as a society, we have evolved, we have changed. But these things are still in our brain. That it matters that how other people view me, whether they like me or whether they don't like me, still in your brain matters. But in society, you can live by yourself today. You can live be the only one in your apartment. You don't have to have a dog or a cat or anything like that. You can work a job, and you can completely isolate yourself and still survive.
Right.
And it's not an existential crisis to be alone. It's lonely as hell. No, there's no getting around that. But some people don't care. But we still have this thing in our heads that says people have to like me or I'll die. If I'm a social outcast and I'm on the bottom of the social rung, people can cast me out of the society and I will die. Okay, sorry folks, we had to pause that for a second. We have a robo-vac that was tangled up at the end of the hallway. I don't know, it was trying to eat my shoelaces or something, I don't know. So we had to pause it, and I was mid-sentence. So what I was in the middle of saying, correct me if I'm wrong, that you can live by yourself in our society and still survive. It's not an existential threat to live by yourself. Now, 20,000 years ago, if you were on the bottom of the social rung, the tribe could cast you out, and that would be an existential crisis, meaning you could die. And unfortunately, our brains have not evolved to tell us that it's okay if people like us or don't like us. Because today, if somebody likes you or doesn't like you, you may or may not know about it. And it's not going to kill you.
Right. Like, so when you're out and about among people.
Wearing pajamas at Walmart.
No. No. That's not what I'm talking about. When you are out and about, you're at work or you're wherever you are among people, you're around a set of people. You don't know what anybody is thinking. And as a woman, there's been times that, just for example, someone will look at you or look at a certain part of your body and you think, or you assume they're thinking a certain thing, and it can ruin your day. That's what we do as women. It's really tough. Like, oh, someone's looking at that stain on my shirt, or and we're really hard on ourselves if we think that we don't measure up.
Right. They're afraid that they're looking at your butt or whatever.
Whatever it is. But prior to that moment, everything was going great. And so one of the things that I have been working on for quite some time now, and I would challenge others to practice not letting our own thoughts be our worst enemy, not letting what we think ruin how we are, navigating the day. If the day is going good and you have a thought like that and it brings you concern or sadness or not measuring up, remember it's your own thought. And like you said, change it to how you would talk to your best friend. It's all good,
Right. You wouldn't tell your best friend, oh, wow, you got a big butt.
Yeah.
Why, how can you wear those shorts like that?
Right.
You're fat and stupid.
Yeah, you would never say that to your best friend.
Right.
Or why are you wearing that shirt? Or why are you wearing this? Or what'd you do to your hair today, for heaven's sakes? I've actually had somebody say that to me before. Someone actually say, oh, you look tired. Did you not get enough sleep last night? And in my mind, I'm thinking, and then I get defensive.
It's none of your fucking business.
Like, well, what do you mean I look tired?
You look tired.
You look tired. But oftentimes, it's usually your own thoughts. It's usually what you are thinking. And it's hard, it's hard to navigate this world. It's hard to make new friends as an adult. I'm so overly picky about who I spend my time with. It's usually just family.
A very small circle of friends.
I do have a very small, and and then there's times where I'm hard on myself about that. It's, well, why? Why do I need to make my circle bigger? Well, I don't need to make my circle bigger. I have lots of acquaintances. I have lots of colleagues and lots of people that I know, but I keep my cards close to my chest when it comes with my time. It's like my time is very focused with my children and my grandchildren and you and I, my marriage, our home, my mom, my sister. Those things are probably the most important thing to me, our family.
So I guess the question that some of our listeners may be asking, okay, so there are things that I can control and things that I can't control. Worrying about or spending my time on things I can control is kind of easy because they're very known. They're probably a very small circle or small bubble of things that you can control. Okay, there's this other great big wide world, humongous bubble of things that I can't control. How do I let go of them? How do I not get wrapped around the axle about the things that I can't control? That is probably what they're asking.
I think, well, what works for me is I have lots of moments where I pray when I recognize that is something I cannot control, something happening in the world or something happening that's totally out of my control. I pray for people. I pray for my enemies. I pray for people I don't care for. I pray for people I do care for. I pray for that's my first go-to. I suggest to others when I do my self-care workshops to ground yourself in a mantra or something when you can obviously see something's out of your control, but you have to identify it first. You have to like see it and go, okay, do I have any control over that?
You have to catch that thought.
You have to catch it. Do I have any control over what's happening right there? And let's keep in mind, we don't control family. We don't control I can't control you. I can't control what my dogs do. I have to keep them in line. I have to draw some boundaries. I have to teach them. I have to work with you. I have to talk with you. But I can't ultimately control anything you think or do or anything. I can only control me.
So if I distill it down, the things you cannot, events and people that you cannot control, you can have compassion for them.
Yes.
For example, starving kids in Africa.
Yes.
Just as an example, you don't necessarily have to ignore the situation or block it out and pretend that it does not exist, because that's a form of denial. A lot of people are queen of denial. But you can have compassion. Now, there's a difference between empathy and compassion. Empathy is where you feel what they're feeling.
Right.
You can feel their hunger and their sadness, their tears and their bloated bellies, and
Right.
bad politics in a foreign land, or bad politics in Washington D.C. I don't really get wrapped around the axle around politics. I'm not trying to say that one way or the other about what's going on in Washington right now or in the country, but it is a polarizing issue. A lot of people have a lot of concerns about what's going on, but it's outside of their control.
Right.
And you just look on Facebook, and that'll tell you right there. People are either delighted or outraged at what's going on. But it is completely outside of my control. So I really don't feel one way or the other about that. I can have compassion for what people are going through, whether they lost their job or whether they're going to get a bonus from the government because of their big tax return. I can have compassion. I do not have empathy because I don't want to get twisted around the axle with them.
Right.
I'm hoping that I'm making myself clear on this, but that is probably the very first step. When you pray for somebody, it's not empathy. That's compassion. Compassion is I understand that they're going through something terrible. But I feel for you, but I can't quite reach you. Maybe that's one way.
And I can't fix it.
And I can't fix it.
I can't fix it.
Right.
It makes me think of allowing our own children to make mistakes.
Yes.
Allowing our own children to learn.
Or siblings to make their own mistakes.
Or siblings to make their own mistakes. But it's allowing life to kind of take its place and be present and not assume people want your help, not assume people need you there all the time. I think we do that in this world too, because we think, again, back to what we think, we have a daughter that just had twins. So, she needs me there all the time. Well, she doesn't need me there all the time. She, I want to be there and I make plans to be there. And when I'm there, I try to say, how can I help today? I'll hold, if she doesn't need help around the house, I'm holding the babies and I'm spending, an hour or two there visiting and just being present. And sometimes that's all people need. They don't need us to come fix things. It's hard. I'm a fixer. It's really hard. I have to ask, oftentimes when I'm called upon, someone's sharing some information and I have to say to me, and I do this with students sometimes too, do you need me to just listen? Do you need me to give you advice, or do you need me to help you fix it? Because I will go straight to fixing it. I just do. And because I'm controlling. and that's another behavior that I have to kind of rein in when I am thinking about what other people are thinking, because I don't have that control. And sometimes you get really vulnerable with that. You get really vulnerable with, okay, I have no role in this. I'm just going to listen.
Because I tend to be a fixer. I'm a father. When I hear my kids going through, our kids, sorry, go through stuff, and or when you come home from work and tell me about your day, either positive or negative events that happened
Doesn't matter,
that day, that I try to, you offer advice and try to fix it, and I can get outraged with you, or I can get happy with you,
right?
But I'm allowed that little bit deeper involvement. But I will ask you, I've learned to ask you, okay, do you want me to listen, be a sounding board?
Right.
Or do you want me to help you fix it? Exactly what you said, 30 seconds ago, when it involves other people.
Yeah.
You have to learn to let go of it. I think of it, okay, another question is, okay, how do you learn to let go of these things that you cannot control? You can have compassion for them. But I'd look at it as a type of forgiveness. If somebody has done something wrong to you, whether it's little or whether it's huge, where it's little like they shoved you in line at Walmart by accident, or cut you off in traffic, or whether they, heaven forbid, they hurt one of your family members. Now, do you hold a grudge? Do you plot your revenge? Those things will eat you up. In very short order. They'll take over your life and eat you up. Then there's, on the other hand, there's forgiveness. Forgiveness doesn't mean you forgot about the offense that was committed against you. That means you just take your foot off their neck and no longer let it take control of your life, and hope that justice will take its own course. Karma is being a good form of justice. Karma can be either good or bad.
And it goes back to control.
Yes.
It goes right back to also what you're thinking about others.
Right. It allows you to give up the illusion of control that you thought you had.
And it also allows you to let go so you have peace of mind. No one wants to live without having peace of mind. And I love relaxing my mind. I love controlling my mind. I had no idea I could control my mind. It's an amazing thing. And when you realize, okay, if I can recognize when this is happening, I can change the course of my mind and the pathway in which those myelinated pathways are deep sometimes, and it takes a while to change them. And one of those is how we criticize ourselves, going back to the beginning of the conversation on how we're really hard on ourselves and we criticize ourselves, and we're our own worst critic. So when we capture that, when we recognize when we're doing that, we have to stop and say, no, I am worthy. I do deserve this. I am a good person. I don't have to walk around saying, oh, I love myself. I don't have to do that. And I don't have to say it out loud. It's a thought in my brain.
It's a skill as well.
It's a skill. And it takes discipline. And I'm not going to allow my brain ruin my peace of mind. And I have had more peace of mind in the last 6 months than I have ever in my entire life. I'm calm. Like I can sit and just look at the texture of my mind, let my mind wander, not being looking at my phone, not doom scrolling or anything. I can just sit here and just be calm and listen to my breath and just go, wow, And then sometimes I will write a list of things I want to get done. And I'm more focused when I take that 10, 15 minutes a day to really take that moment for me, because I'm worthy of that. And I believe I deserve that moment. And it has changed the course of the day every single day. Every day. And one of those that I practice on is how I talk to myself. And for example, when I make a decision to do something and I don't do it, I don't beat myself up like I used to. I'll say, you know what? I did it anyway. I'm going to own it. I made a decision. I made a decision and I just did it, and I'm going to move forward. And that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it, because then I'm not for 8 hours in a day thinking about that one thing and beating myself up over and over and over and over and over.
That's a huge waste of energy.
Oh, it is. But as women, that's what we do. Those wires are twisted and turning and everything inside the mind. It's just it's different than a man's brain.
So you can actually, another point that we were trying to make is that you can actually evolve because we've been starting June or
last
July.
June.
Okay, so June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. That's 11 months.
I know. No, it's 10 months.
I just counted out of my fingers.
I know, but 12 months will be June.
Okay.
This June will be 1 year that we've been working on mindset.
Okay, so 10 months, because I counted June, and even though we started early July.
Right.
Think about that, though. Okay, thanks for straightening me out. Thanks for controlling me.
You're welcome.
I love being corrected.
I'm so sorry.
No, I say that in jest. I'm joking.
I know.
But yeah, so even if I'm, 65 years old, I can evolve sure, I've gone through college and everything else, been career in the Air Force, but I think the most evolution I've had is within this past 10 months. Evolution of my mind.
Yeah.
On my thought process, my mindset, and what it has done, not just for calmness of my mind, but what it has done for my body.
Well, you've had some great goals met in the last 10 months. Can I share what I think?
Yeah, I have intentions rather than goals, but please continue.
Well, you have been amazingly on board with everything I bring forth. For the last 20 years, I've had my ups and downs with my health goals, and I would find things and try them and quit. Find things and try them and quit. Find things, try them and quit. Nothing was sticking. And 10 months ago, when we found Jason Saib and the Diligent Mind Self-Care, he started talking in a way that made sense to me. And you jumped on board with that. You listened to him with me every Sunday when we'd have our challenge talks. And then he has a podcast that we listen to every week. Over 300 podcasts that we listen to. Different ones are our favorites. I have several that I listen to that are my favorites that talk about this stuff. And you've made some great gains in the last 10 months, not only with mindset work, but the focus of being really disciplined in your self-care, being motivated in doing things, and the way you're thinking about doing things here around on our property and at our home. And it's been so amazing doing it together, and I'm just so thankful for that. I'm so thankful that we do our lives together. And it's not just me out here hanging on a limb. There's my husband over there doing his thing, and I'm over here hanging on a limb doing the next thing. But this is lifetime. There is no there for us to arrive to. There's a constant into the means of living a good, peaceful life, a happy life. And that is created. It's not given.
So when we started with Jason Seib, and I thank you for those compliments, by the way. Thank you. Those are huge compliments, and they are nice to hear. Because what I think about myself and what you think about me, because what you think about me, sure, is outside of my control, but I still care about it.
Right.
Yeah, I have to care about what you think about me. Where was I going with this?
10 months ago. You said
10 months ago when we started with Jason's side. Wasn't it Weekless Week that we started?
Yeah.
And Comfort Zone Workshop.
Yeah.
2 different things that we tackled.
Right.
About getting outside of your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we've done that. Mm-hmm. It's comfort zone. It starts with small things like when you're in the shower, in the shower with turn on full cold. Doesn't matter what
cold
time,
showers.
Cold showers. Doesn't matter what time of the year it is. You turn it on full cold and you get underneath that cold water. And it's not always it's not supposed to be pleasant. It's supposed to be, oh my God, this hurts! And you count 10 seconds, because you don't have a stopwatch on you. You got 1,000, 2,000, and you do that for 10 seconds. And gradually you work your way up to 30 seconds. And then gradually you work up your way up to a minute. Mm-hmm. And the reason for this is not because, well, cold showers are not bad for you, but they are, good for the circulation around your skin.
It really is.
It is good. But the whole intent is, okay, this is a controlled environment. You're doing something that is uncomfortable, but you're still in control. It's not like you've fallen out of an airplane and it's outside of your control. That's scary. Or you're falling off a ladder. That's outside of your control and is very scary. But this is something you can control, and you can predict, and you can plan for. You can say at the end of this shower, turn it on full cold. I'm going to get under this water. It's not going to be pleasant. It's going to be uncomfortable. But it is gradually stretching your comfort zone. So when the real shit hits the fan, uncomfortable things happen in your life, unpleasantries, whatever catastrophes that life has in store for you, when that happens, your mind will already be toughened up and armored enough to where it's not going to knock you to the dirt. So then you can survive the really, really hard stuff. Because you have practiced the hard stuff. And
a cold shower is just one of those things.
Yeah, yes, it's only one example.
Yeah.
What are some of the others?
Rolling
Foam
on a roller, foam rolling. So I foam roll twice a week at least. And gosh, at first it hurt. I didn't realize the importance of foam rolling. But it has given my body balance. My bones, my hips, everything. It's helped me balance some things out. I can't wait to foam roll tomorrow. I need it. I should foam roll tonight maybe because I've had a little bit of a lower back soreness. But sprinting on sprint bikes or a row machine. 3 20-minute sprints. And I what I mean by sprinting is you sprint for 20 or 30 seconds like you are saving your child from drowning in a pool.
Or you're on fire.
Sprinting hard. And I know people at the gym, and I think what other people think. I'm over there sprinting. I just do it 3 times for, I'm up to 30 seconds now. I'll do it 3 times for 30 seconds. And then I get off that rower, and then I go up and roll and stretch, and I'm done because I've already done my strength training. I've already done my other things, and then I go get in the sauna, and I sit there with nothing, no phone, no nothing, and I just sit there in silence and let my mind wander.
It's your 10 minutes of unentertained time.
It's my 10 minutes of unentertained time, and then I get ready and go to work. But another one of those hard things is meditating and not letting your mind think at all and just listening to your breath. That's hard. But what that's done is, if I'm having a conversation with someone at work or family or whatever it was, and it's a hard conversation, I've learned to pause better. I've learned to not react. I've learned so many things with that, that I didn't know that would be part of the outcome of that practice. But these hard things, like you said, help you. So when something is super hard, you somehow have more strength getting through it, and I just amaze myself sometimes. Like, wow, I did that. I actually did that. I was strong through that whole thing. And I don't know if I could have done that a year ago,
And another one of the things that he has us do is you go out in public and you're not quite put together. Because normally people want to... I don't know if good at this, bad at this.
Well, you said you hate when people dress a certain way at Walmart.
I judge them. Yeah, I judge them because they could do better. But that's outside of my control. It's how other people dress is outside of my control.
So tell me about this.
Okay, so one of the things he has us do is normally whenever you get out of the shower, you're getting ready to leave the house, you're getting dressed, you're getting yourself put together. Some people wear makeup. I don't. You don't particularly wear makeup. But we comb our hair. I have a beard. I comb my beard. I put an underarm deodorant. I choose my clothing depending on what weather is that day. Shoes, socks, etc. But one thing he has you do is go out with not quite put together. That doesn't mean you wear...
So what did you do?
I don't think I combed my beard. I know that sounds weird. It sounds weird, but I do. I comb my hair and I bathe and I brush my teeth. I do it for me.
You're very particular when you get up in the morning.
Right. I don't do it for anybody else.
Yeah.
I do it for me.
Right.
I want to look good for you.
Right.
Because your opinion matters. One of the very few in the world that matters.
Oh.
But I went out and my beard wasn't quite the way it should be. It was kind of ratted off to the side. Looked like, things might be living in it.
Oh my God. You cracked me up, honey. How did it go?
I forgot about it. I mean, I went out and I forgot that I wasn't completely 100% put together. It didn't.
No, but it didn't matter.
It didn't matter. It didn't bother me because
nobody cared.
Because I forgot about it, and nobody's pointed and laughed.
No,
I still have even with my beard combed, I still have kids stare at me like 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds.
They think you're Santa.
They don't know. They got their eyes big as dinner plates, and they stare at me, their mouth open. Just whenever we're at the food truck event.
Oh,
you had an event on Friday.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And what was the event?
It was a Week of the Young Child event.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, we met up with Casey and Grayson, daughter, grandson, and went to there's the food truck court in downtown Reading.
Right.
There's 7 or 8 food trucks.
Right.
And you met up with somebody that you knew. You met up with several people that you knew.
Yeah.
You were talking about this earlier, but whenever we go out, you meet people that are within the circle of your acquaintances, but not close friends.
Right.
I don't know who these people were. You seem to know who they were. How you doing? Oh, wow, you got a babies and all this other stuff. Very light conversation.
Yeah.
Their little son, probably maybe 4 years old. He was looking up. His eyes were huge. His mouth was open. He was staring. He was staring right. He wasn't looking at my eyes. He was looking at my beard. And he was wondering, is this who I think it is? Why has he got this thing on his face? Is it a possum wrapped around his face? What is it? You could tell. You see the little gears turning. And I do get that from time to time. It doesn't bother me. I think it's kind of cute that kids are wondering.
I kind of think you do it on purpose.
What, that I still have a beard on purpose?
Yeah. Because I think you like making people think about it. There's something deep inside of me that, see, I'm thinking about what you think.
Mm-hmm.
I think you like people being curious. But that's just my opinion. And I'm just making an assumption. I have no idea.
I may not even know. why I do it.
Yeah.
Because normally I'll start one in the past few years, not normally, but within the past few years, I started growing one July, August.
A beard.
A beard.
Yeah.
And then by the end of, it's starting in the spring, I'm done with it. And I'm shave it off and I'm done. Then I spring it on you. Ta-da, look at this. and in time to where I can get a tan on my face and not have a completely white face and a tanned body.
Right.
But this year, I'm thinking about keeping it.
Are you?
I'm thinking about when we go to Hawaii, where I'm still going to have the whole Santa Claus on vacation look.
I love it.
Yeah, I do try to trim it up so it's not, overwhelming. But it does flap around when I'm riding my motorcycle. It does.
That's probably a bummer too.
Yeah.
When you're on your bike.
Yeah, but I try to keep food out of it.
There's Santa on a motorcycle.
Yeah, but I try to keep food out of it. I put beard balm and beard butter in it.
You have all your stuff on the bathroom counter now.
Yeah.
Your little
Yeah.
triage of beard
Yeah, I don't want it
applications.
to look and smell like a dead possum.
No.
So I try to put the beard balm and the other stuff. It's kind of like a leave-in conditioner. Makes it easier to untangle.
Let's get back to our topic.
Okay, we got down a rabbit hole, didn't we? About what other people think of you.
Yeah.
But this kind of is on top.
It is.
About what other people think, because other people can look at my beard and
Think a certain thing.
and think a certain thing, like little kids or adults or whatever. And I really don't care what they think, outside of my control. I think it's interesting if you stand back and look at it. Is interesting their reactions.
Yeah.
But I can't control their reactions, and it doesn't bother me one way or the other. I think that is a very good illustration of the point.
Very good illustration of the point.
So getting back to our subset of comfort zone.
I just think it's important that we have to realize what we think is controlled by ourselves, by us. It's not like you said. If you've got two circles in front of you, you can only control certain things in one circle, and there's things out of your control. It's the stuff that's out of your control that oftentimes can really take over your brain and really make life unhappy. And I think that's where a lot of depression comes from. Depression is a brain thing. Anxiety is a brain thing. And I'm not a doctor. I'm not someone that has worked through any of those things, but if we can help people, not go down that horrible pathway of constantly worried about what other people think, because you don't have control over it.
Right.
And I care about what you think of me. So when you say, when I looked at you and I said, "Am I okay wearing shorts?" and you said, "Well, am I okay wearing shorts?" I said, "Yeah." And you said, "Well, yeah." Then I need to let go of what I think other people might think of me wearing shorts, because my husband loves me.
And that's a hard thing to do. Both of us will be the first and second to admit that letting go of that sort of thing that's outside of your control is hard.
So wearing my shorts in public today was my comfort challenge. It's hard for me to wear shorts in public. It's hard for some women to go sleeveless and wear tank tops in the summer. It's hard for some women to let their husbands see their body in the light. And what we want to say to you is, stop.
Gotta let it go.
Let that go. Challenge. Do the hard things. Be you. We're all put on this earth. All of us have a specific DNA that's like no one else is on this earth. We are all, every single person on this earth has a purpose and is special and belongs here. I believe that with my whole heart. We're worthy to have a good life. We deserve all the things that we do, all the things that we put forth as what we love and who we're with and all our relationships, you're worthy of all those things.
I want to go get. There's some books I've read, and one book that I'm reading in particular. We'll put it down in the bottom in the comments. Oops, I'm scooting my chair back and trying not to run over a puppy because our puppies are wrapped around my feet. But I'm gonna go get those books.
Okay.
And talk amongst yourselves.
Okay. I just think it's important that we take that time to recognize when we are talking negatively to ourselves and put that on pause. Throw that down on paper and rip it up and throw it away, because it's really defeating the purpose of feeling good and finding that space in this world where we belong. We all belong here. Everybody has a purpose. There's not one person walking this earth that doesn't have a purpose. And maybe that's my faith talking. Maybe that's my belief in that God has purpose, But I believe in a purpose-driven life. I believe in those things deeply. In fact, it's that belief and that hope and that drive that has gotten me through some really rough times in my life. That determination and that, man, God must have me here for a reason. I don't know how I made it through that. There's just things that have happened that I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful that I did make it. So you want to share your books?
Yes, the first one that I've read, it's about the topic we talked about a little bit ago, doing hard things. Mm-hmm. This one is called The Navy SEAL Way to an Extraordinary Life. Embrace the Suck. The guy was a Navy SEAL, Brent Gleeson, spelled Gleeson. And he talks about his experience as a Navy SEAL, how he got through BUDS, which is Basic Underwater Demolition SEAL School, and the things that what got him through, because it is the toughest course in the world. I mean, the 1%, 2% of the people who actually apply for it and are accepted and start the course to become a SEAL, only 1 or 2% actually get through to become the spearhead of America's diplomacy.
Okay.
Whether diplomacy is verbal or whether it is at the end of a gun, these people are the ones banging doors and taking out like Osama bin Laden.
Right. Navy SEALs.
Navy SEAls. I don't need to describe.
Probably not. So you want that at the bottom of the thing?
Yeah, that'll be
the
there.
Podcast?
Yeah, and the next one is another Navy SEAL who did hard things. And he talks about his experiences going through Navy SEAL training, and he went through Army Ranger School just to see if he could do it. And he's a ultra marathon runner, meaning running 100-mile races. Mm-hmm. And not just on flat ground, but like he did one in Hawaii that was up and down mountains, mm-hmm. and competing with other people, and he did it with broken feet and doing the no shit hard things. His name is David Goggins. The book is titled "Can't Hurt Me: Master Your Mind and Defy the Odds," and that's what he did. He had to learn to not just master his body, because your body is the slave to your mind. If you think of it that way, you have to master your mind first, then your body will eventually follow. I won't get
that makes so much sense.
And that's another. I just finished the book, and that's on the stack of the books I recommend that you read, sweetie.
I know,
and
they're on my list.
Yeah, there's another.
They're going to Hawaii with me.
Yeah, and I've got several other books that I haven't read yet.
And the one you're reading right now?
The one I'm reading now is called The Beginner's Guide to Stoicism: Tools for Emotional and Resilience and Positivity. Author's name is Matthew J. Van Natta, Vannatta. and it's about the branch of philosophy called Stoicism, about how you can achieve happiness. One of the first thing they talk about is letting stuff go. There's the sphere of influence, things you can control and the things you can't control. The things you can't control, that balloon is a billion times, trillion times bigger than the thing that you can control. So what you can control is pretty dang small, and you should concentrate on that. The other stuff, have compassion for it, recognize that it exists. Do not try to control it. Do not get so emotionally involved and wrapped up in it that it ruins your life, that you cannot proceed forward to your goal of happiness. Happiness is a skill. I don't mean that there's a place that we said it before. If I win the lottery, I'll be happy. Well, no, you won't, because that's not one of the components. But I'll let you guys read. We'll put these down at the bottom in the comments. Got these on Amazon. You can get them anywhere. You can probably get them at a used bookstore. I imagine their self-help section is small. Their romance novel section, sadly, is huge. Like if you go to Barnes & Noble, they got rows and rows and banks of romance novels. But sadly, anything is self-help, books on psychology or mindset or philosophy, very, very small.
Well, I'm writing a book.
Yeah, and you're writing a book.
Yeah,
and maybe some of these things can be part of it, part of your path to resiliency.
Well, and that's the goal, is I'm not writing a book just to share my trauma. I'm writing a book on how I was able to overcome. And some of the books I've read already from Brene Brown, not just Brene Brown, but Julie Kurtz and Julie Nicholson, and learning about trauma and what it does to your body, but how you become resilient, how you find hope. The book's going to be all about that. And so this podcast is about relationships. It's about being, it's our Sunday morning table. These are the conversations we have all the time. So thank you so much for joining us and hitting play today.
Yes, thank you. And we're not psychiatrists. We're not doctors. We're not, I don't know. I'm not a plumber. But I know how to dig ditches in the backyard. Won't get into that.
No.
We had some plumbing issues that I had to deal with this past week that are ongoing. But I know how to dig ditches and I know how to repair PVC pipe.
Hey, honey, have a great week.
Thank you, sweetie.
I love you.
Thanks again, folks.
Yes, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.